Hello Team FD and welcome back to Winners and Losers. Joining me today is Patrick Van Straten. We're talking about Manchester United again in the talking point. So to balance things out, we've got rid of Joe, gave him the boot. How was your weekend?
It was all right. I did a football social live stream. There were 2 Spurs fans on it. Not keen. What happened then? I had a raclette party on Sunday. I ate my weight in cheese, which is a lot of weight. I ate so much cheese. What did you do?
Oh, I went to the countryside, mate.
You love the countryside.
Nice change of pace. No, I don't. I hate it. It makes me feel deeply uncomfortable.
Countryside is what we'll call it when we kill Joe.
It's just old people buying fudge. That's all it is. And you know what? You know what was the second best thing to do in the Cotswolds on TripAdvisor? The model village. Oh. And it was raining. We couldn't even go to the model village.
What village is it a model of?
I'm not sure. And I don't really. It was called Little Rissington.
Wowzer.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a response to that.
It made me spit.
It rained a lot.
I did a lot of spitting there in old people's faces. Get out of my way. taking so much time just to amble around bloody, duck ponds. Moving on anyway. Our talking point this week is, has Jose saved his job? It was unavoidable, wasn't it, Van Straten? We flirted with the idea of talking about Arsenal as top 4 contenders, but seeing as they smashed Fulham, they're in our winners section. So back to Jose, back to United. Does he live to fight another day?
I mean, he actually has fought another day. Like, he's still here, despite what the Mirror suggested, that he was going to be sacked regardless of the outcome. Now, they were 2-0 down within 10 minutes at home to Newcastle on Saturday. Not auspicious, but had a good second half, managed to come back and win 3-2. Alexis Sanchez got the winner after Mata and Martial had pulled them level. They were 4 games without a win in all comps, and they were pretty much regular features in our losers section. However, when you go 2-0 down at home to Newcastle, it is quite hard for that to be considered a good performance by the manager. He pulled off Bailly after like 15 minutes.
Who took it extremely well, by the way.
Yeah, probably because he was like, this is rubbish.
Get me off.
He probably thought he was going to be on the end of like a 5-0 battering. Was it Scott McTominay who went to centre-half?
It was, yes. And then Paul Pogba also flirted with centre-half in this game. What a time to be alive. Paul Pogba at centre-half, the most creative midfielder in the team. He's taking the most shots for Manchester United this season. It's centre-back.
He's actually the most expensive centre-back in the world, Paul Pogba. And probably Lukaku next.
Ultimately bringing Juan Mata on, who scored the free kick, Pato, and was part of United's renaissance. What did you think of it?
I don't know. It's a little bit like last season when they beat City. You remember that game where they got the kicked out of them by City? Very, very, very fortunate to come back and get anything, let alone a win. Except this time it was against Newcastle and it was at home. And Newcastle are
bad,
genuinely dreadful in attack. And yet the first 10 minutes, they were like peak Barca. They're just cutting through them at will. Could have easily been 3-0. If the third had gone in, I think we all have to admit that this would have been a loss for Man United. They'd have been 8 points behind Arsenal and Spurs. Arsenal, by the way, not good. Spurs also not good. So being 8 points behind those sides would have been not good. I don't really get what's going on there.
Big fan of Ashley Young showing Kennedy onto the inside. On his stronger foot. Love that.
Yeah, it's like Leo Messi, put him on his left. What's he going to do? Yeah, it was really very strange. I mean, it seems like Mourinho just made some kind of cartoonish decisions, like protest decisions, and then against all the odds, they sort of worked. But he said some weird stuff afterwards, didn't he?
He did, and there were some moments actually where United were very fortunate. I mean, they tested Dubravka's resolve.
Dubravka was good
in this game, didn't they? And he did pull off some very good saves. But at 2-0 down, if that Ashley Young handball is given from that John Joe Shelby free kick, which was inexplicably given as a goal kick, then Jose probably out of a job if you're 3-0 down at half-time to Newcastle. Probably sacked at half-time. Ed Woodward's probably leading the team out after 45.
I'm quite... Oh, that would be great. That'd be great. Oh, he does a great job commercially, doesn't he, Ed? Ooh. Fucking idiot. I would absolutely love it, though. The good thing about it is that there's a part of me that wants Mourinho to stay for the rest of the season and just get the worst finish of his career.
I mean, because of things such as the post-match interview where he said such damning sentences, the feel-good was back temporarily at Manchester United. They'd come from 2-0 down, grabbed the points, all is well, very briefly, and then in his post-match he says, Marcus Rashford was sad on the pitch.
He was sad on the pitch.
One of my favourite post-match sound bites that. Scott McTominay was scared on the pitch. Yes, because he's not good enough in his preferred position of central midfield, never mind centre-back.
Yes.
But let's just touch it briefly upon Newcastle because, like you said, they were made to look pretty useful going forward. And before this game, only 2 points from 8 games to represent the Magpies' worst start to a top-flight season in the modern era, where you get 3 points for a victory. So not a vintage Newcastle side, not even defensively resolute like they were last season. Newcastle are now winless in 8 league games this season, only in 1898. Where they went the first 10 unbeaten have they gone longer without a win in a top-flight campaign. And it was actually the first time Newcastle have taken a lead this campaign. So
yes.
All sorts of, records being broken. Only goal difference is keeping Rafa Benitez's side now above the relegation zone. Surely, as much as Jose needs a centre-half, Rafa needs about 6 players to keep this very championship-looking Newcastle side afloat. Because oh my, are they, as well as Huddersfield and Cardiff, firm favourites to go down.
They literally cannot score goals except against Man United. They're so bad. But, oh God, I feel like we're about 3 weeks away from Mourinho genuinely just shooting one of his centre-backs in the head on the touchline.
Marcus Rashford
He'll be like, come here, and then he'll put an arm around him and just be like... and Chris Smalling falls to the ground lifeless, and the crowd cheer.
Absolutely.
Attack.
Splinter cells, Phil Jones at Carrington. In the shower, dead. Anyway, moving on, because what a state that was.
Our first winners, as Hamels hinted, are the Arsenal, and this comes from the greatest Twitter handle of all time, the lad 231, the 231st lad.
Wonkers.
But one of the biggest lads on Twitter, clearly. Anyway.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Arsenal continued their fantastic run of form with a 5-1 win away at Fulham, setting fire to the Cottage, their 9th straight win in all competitions. The best return for a Gunners side in 3 years, I believe. Well done, Unai. Lacazette scored a double in this game. He's getting better with every game I watch him this season.
It's filth.
Love him.
It's filth.
Love him. Link-up play, drops deep, does all the work. And Ramsey added a superb third before Aubameyang scored a late brace. Schürrle had actually temporarily brought Fulham level at one point during this game, and that guy will shoot from anywhere, won't he?
He will bang shots constantly. He's absolutely idiotic. He's got Xhaka's shot selection.
Yeah, Mark Wahlberg vibes. Shooter. Rob that joke from Van Straan. Anyway, moving on. It means that despite losing their opening 2 games against Chelsea and City, Arsenal are now up to 4th in the table, back where you belong, baby. Just 2 points behind City, Chelsea and Liverpool. Now things are coming up Millhouse for Emery, aren't they? So Ramsey came on, scored. And then Oba came on, scored and assisted. Ramsey also grabbing an assist. The first time 2 substitutes have done so in Premier League history. Shout out to Laka. Like I said, he's now been involved in 6 goals in 5 Premier League starts this season. That's 4 goals and 2 assists. Arsenal have now won 4 of their past 5 away games, Pato. As many as they won in the previous 19 on the road. Oh God, if you can marry this season's away form with last season's home form, you might come 4th.
But we can't, because we're not actually that good. Ooh.
Oh no.
This was our best performance in ages. We've got 9 wins in a row, but a bunch of them we've been terrible in. The good thing is we're now level on points with Spurs, and so if we actually start to improve, then we'll be in a good position to challenge for top 4. Unfortunately, Spurs are terrible, and Man United are literally a mid-table club. So that puts us in a decent position, but improvement is definitely needed. The defence is still shocking. We should have lost to Watford. We could have lost to Everton. I don't know. I mean, I think that people are getting a bit carried away with the results over the performances at the moment. But this was very, very good. And this is what happens when you get elite attackers. It is much easier to win games because they will just put things in that other people won't.
Just bludgeoning teams.
Lacazette's second goal, for instance. When it was level, Lacazette just scores an improbable goal to put us ahead. And then the game gets so much easier because Fulham are quite naive defensively. They've conceded 21 goals in 8 games this season. That's 4 more than anyone else. And they've conceded 3 goals or more on 3 occasions. And I'm not surprised at all because their fullbacks were just bombing on. We were running into space on the flanks. There were so many chances on the overlap. We could have had 2 or 3 more goals just from their defenders being all the way up pitch. And the thing is, Seri, I like Seri, but he doesn't do enough defensive work. He doesn't have defensive instincts. Ongisa does loads of defensive work, but has no help. They just need to get a little bit less cavalier, because defence is going to make them drop out of the Premier League, despite the fact they've clearly got Premier League quality players. So it's really frustrating. I mean, this is their 14th Premier League season. It's their joint lowest points tally after 8 games, despite the money they've spent, despite having a good manager, despite having good young talent. They had 21 shots in this game. Arsenal had 9, but 7 of Arsenal's 9 were on target. 7 of 9. And only 4 of Fulham's were, because Andre Schürrle was spraying shots around like Al Capone with a Tommy gun, mate. He's out of control. Aubameyang, 2 shots, 2 goals. Ramsey, 1 shot, 1 goal. I mean, you don't expect that to last for those players. You know, they're not going to convert every shot they have. But at the same time, when you're having shots from inside the 6-yard area unopposed, you are going to score quite a few of them. Man of the match, clearly Lacazette. Huge amounts of defensive work from him. He's on Firmino. 2 shots, 2 goals, 2 tackles, 1 aerial duel, 1. He actually gets called for a lot of fouls when I think he's one of the better tacklers in the Arsenal team. Anyway, Arsenal need to improve over the international break, and then they can really kick on, because they've got Leicester at home, so that'll be a good one. Fulham travel to Cardiff, so you would hope that maybe they will finally get a win.
They'll stick 5 past Cardiff.
Maybe they'll get a clean sheet. Who knows? Don't know. Anyway.
But, you know, Arsenal winning ugly, which is always a good sign.
I would watch this game every week, though. It's just 2 sides you can't defend. It's great. Anyway, winners Arsenal. Ooh.
Our first losers, the Hornets, stung. This is from Bailey Alvin. Why are Watford in the bin?
Yeah, Watford, after an incredible run, have now lost 2 in a row. They lost 4-0 at home to Bournemouth, who are now up to 6th in the Premier League, 2 points behind Tottenham in 5th. Ooh. Anyway, it was a pretty open game, which is not really what Watford want, though that was helped by the fact that Cavaselli got sent off. So Watford ended up conceding 7 shots on target to the Cherries and had just 2 themselves. It seemed like Watford couldn't really get decent shots in this game. Pretty much all their efforts were outside the box. And we've seen this from Bournemouth this season. For the first time, they've done what you expect small clubs to do, which is sit really deep, shell, and counter-attack. And it's really working for them. It meant that as a result, 50% of Watford's shots came from outside the box, whereas only 1 of Bournemouth's was from more than 12 yards out. And King, Wilson had a field day. Whenever King ran into the box, Wilson would peel out wide. It was a really nice partnership. And the heat maps in this game kind of revealed that they were playing pretty much as a front 2, with a little bit of support from our boy David Brooks.
DB.
Yeah, he had an absolutely sensational game, the 21-year-old. Opened the scoring, he's got 2 in 2. Only 21 years old. What a player. He's already better than Ryan Giggs.
Hadn't heard of him 2 weeks ago, and now look at him.
He's
flying.
Sick boy.
The real DB. Yeah, that front 3, front 4 are causing all sorts of problems for mid-table Premier League clubs this campaign, aren't they? Got pace and decisive finishing to boot. But Jefferson Lerma, equally as important in this game. He offered Bournemouth balance when Brooks, when Ryan Fraser and the front 2 were sort of streaming forward. His 90 is as follows, or was as follows even. 3 tackles, 4 aerial duels won, 7 blocks, 2 interceptions and 1 dribble completed. So an all-action performance from their record signing. He's got a big role to play in that midfield, because the front 4 can be quite wasteful. They don't exactly look to hold up play and bring their midfield into the game. It's literally, if we don't get forward quickly, then this attack is going to fizzle out. And subsequently, they lost the ball 15 times between the 4 of them. So he is in charge of mopping up, hand Jefferson the brush. Now, expected goals had this at 1.1 to 1.9 plus a penalty for Bournemouth. So while they were decent value for their win, they were quite fortunate not to concede.
Sure.
But fortune has been on their side at the start of this season, Pato. 6 penalties in 8 games. In fact, Josh King hadn't scored from open play until that header, and he's their top goal scorer on 4 goals. King is now the 5th highest scoring Norwegian in Premier League history. Just, 4, I think, behind John Carew. So joining those sort of heady heights, and only 58 behind Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So, can he break?
Can you name the other 2?
Can he break his records? Can you? Because I can't. Let me know in the comments below.
Everson, Flo.
Probably, yeah.
There you go.
Watford are now without a win in 4th. They've drawn 2, lost 2, slipping to 9th in the table. Level on points with United, though.
Oh, that's the ignominy.
Terrible.
Dreadful for Watford.
On a par with Mank. rank mank.
Chelsea are our next winners. This comes from @Dr. Ngolo. I wonder who he supports. What happened to Chelsea? Because I don't care.
Would you let him, inspect your
Prostate. Yes.
Yeah.
You know
He'd be
what?
quick about
He'd
it,
do
wouldn't he?
twice the work of the ordinary proctologist.
Anyway.
He'd be like,
Right, moving on to the game in hand, because Chelsea handed out an ass whooping to Southampton, didn't they? 3-0, which means they join Liverpool and Manchester City at the summit of the Premier League on 20 points. And isn't it odd, now the neutral is sort of getting behind Chelsea, now they're playing this attractive brand of football under Sarri, as opposed to their previous 110 years of existence, where it's been easy to kind of ill will on Chelsea.
because they were racist.
Yes, well, didn't expect that.
Still
did I?
racist, though.
Should have, because classic Van Straten bomb.
Hard
that.
racist manager.
But let's go back to the game in hand, because Ross Barkley, who was recalled to the England squad in midweek, was handed his third start of the season and made the most of it, didn't he? He set up Eden Hazard for the opener and scored his first league goal scored his first goal for the Blues, and registered his first assist since April 2017. Wow. Hazard loves it. Down at St Mary's, mate.
Loves it.
Absolutely bloody loves it. He's now been involved in 11 goals and 15 appearances against Southampton for Chelsea in all competitions. That's 6 goals and 5 assists. And he scored and assisted for the first time in a Premier League game since October 2016, which was also down on the south coast at St Mary's. Hence why I said he loves it. All right? Moving on.
Come on.
Chelsea have now won their last 6 Premier League games against Southampton, last losing 3-1 under Jose Mourinho in October 2015. And Sarri ball was in full swing yet again.
Oh, was it?
31 passes in the build-up to Morata's goal, the most of any Premier League goal this campaign. I'm glad that Morata scored, finally. Because he has not been good. And I think, he's better than he's showing, right? Moving on. Okay, Sarri still proving a difficult man to please, though. Criticised some decisions in the final third after the game. Anna said that there's probably too many holes to plug if they were to put together a championship-winning season. He thinks it's beyond them at current. What do you think?
I think they're really good. I think they're definitely quite close to Liverpool's quality. Certainly they looked at it when they played each other twice in that previous week. I don't think they're far off Liverpool, but I think both those sides are quite a way off Man City, is my feeling. I think it's hard to see a world in which City don't win the title.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's very promising given that they're just a couple of months into their first campaign under Sarri. You do wonder where they'll be in 2 years' time, because unless Hazard leaves or one player like Kante drops off a cliff or something, then you've got to think that maybe they'll win another title.
Those categories in the top 5, 6 in the Premier League are becoming a lot clearer than I'd have first thought at this point in the season. So Chelsea look quite close to Liverpool, City look quite far out in front, Tottenham look quite close to United, Arsenal kind of flirting between 4th and 6th. It's going to be interesting to see who lands those Champions League spots. But take us back to the game. Moving on to Mark Hughes, still stealing a living at Southampton, I see.
Yeah, he's dreadful at management. And Southampton have one win in their last 14 home games. After 20 minutes, Chelsea had 85% of the ball.
That's a lot of balls.
When you think as well that Southampton were actually a pretty good possession side, they were under Puel, they were under Koeman, they were under Poch, they were under Atkins, and now suddenly they're just nothing. They have no identity.
They've been suckered into becoming one of those sides who tries to win points just from week to week. There's no long-term thinking there. There's no ethos.
Yeah, and I think we forget how good the squad is. It's one of those things where you look at Southampton and you're like, yeah, under Hughes, and where they are on the table when they can't score goals. But when you actually look at the squad, they're really good players, and you're seeing how good Tadic is now. He's gone back to the Eredivisie, admittedly in a softer league, but he's still an excellent player.
He was running against Bayern the other night, wasn't he? In a false number 9.
It's phenomenal. And anyway, this is the 9th home Premier League game since the start of last season that Southampton have failed to score in. 9 home games they haven't scored. Only Huddersfield have failed to score in more home games in that time with 12. And Huddersfield are authentically gash. In the last 3 seasons, Southampton have taken just 7 points from the Big 6 in 26 games. They've lost 19, drawn 7, won 0. I imagine all those points were against Arsenal as well. So they just cannot pick up points against the big sides. But at the moment, they don't They're not even rolling over the weak ones. It's really worrying. And Hughes afterwards as well, he never comes out with anything substantial. He's never like, this is our problem tactically, or this is where we need to improve. He just said, we gave Chelsea too much respect. It's like, that's meaningless. That doesn't get anything done, does it? He's lost 19 Premier League games against Chelsea as a manager. No shame in that, because he's managed smaller clubs. However, you expect him to come up with a plan to beat that side rather than just say, oh, well, you know, let's show them less respect next
Consistently
time.
rolled over by the bigger clubs as well. And it's just absolutely beyond me how they can sell players like Tadic, who in his pomp at Southampton was creating 2 chances a game, had decent numbers even when he was sort of in and out of the side. And they continue to just turn over forwards as if that is the sole problem, not chance creation from the midfield, not the way they're building their attack or transitioning from defence to attack. Because they've got one of the best fullbacks in the league. They've got Nathan Redmond, who's a very useful player, but bit by bit they're just becoming awful.
Their midfield's great. Like, they've got Southampton have a bunch of players who much bigger sides would take in their squad. Højbjerg's great, Lemina's great, Redmond's great, Ings is playing really well this season, Cedric, Bertrand. These are good players and they can't get anything out of them. And it just makes me think, cut your losses, bin Hughes off, and get in a decent manager, because otherwise you're going to be the best squad in the Championship.
Just before we head into our final losers then, we sent James Wayne and Kieran Carlin up to Anfield as Manchester City fans behind enemy lines, living that corporate life in the cop boxes. Let's see how they got on.
James, 0-0 at Anfield. Are you taking that?
I will take it, to be fair. I think that both teams didn't give enough in attack, both very cagey. I'm surprised by this. Usually it's a fixture with a lot of goals, and evidently today was not the case. I think that Man City's attack was not up to scratch as it usually is. I think Liverpool's very much the same. Defences were very good. I was surprised at how good the defences actually were. I thought Dejan Lovren, Virgil van Dijk.
Lovren was really
good.
Strangely good. Don't know what happened
Gomez also extremely good. Contained Sterling, who once again had a bad trip to Anfield, as he does. The reception for him here is still as toxic as ever. The fans really getting on his back.
Yeah, but we don't like Milner for some reason. So.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I still do like Milner.
Yeah, I like Milner. Nothing wrong with him.
Yeah, but we've decided, we don't like him anymore. I think the wing play for City was weak. As I said, Sterling was getting absolutely trounced left, right, and centre. Mahrez, I thought, for me, was too far central. He should have been, hugging the touchline a bit more. And the obvious penalty miss. Should he have taken it? I personally don't think so.
Apparently he got a call from the bench.
Yeah, apparently. But I personally don't think that he should have been given that.
No.
I think you've got more experienced players in that position that should be taking the penalties.
I don't think it's. I think it's a fair result, really.
It is a fair result. It's a result I'm still happy with.
I think if anyone had to score, should have been us, considering the penalty. And we were on it second half. But
Yeah.
I think Liverpool had too many. In the week against Napoli, didn't have a shot on target. Wasn't great today.
Yeah,
I'm sure they're fine.
Yeah, it's just a small blip, I'm guessing, with Liverpool, because they usually are, especially with Klopp and the team they have, a very, very exciting team to watch. Sadio Mane incident, that's very interesting. Is there more to be seen in that? Personally, from what we saw, it was bizarre. You don't stick your legs up in that position. We haven't watched any punditry, any reports on anything. We haven't read anything yet. We've got our own raw opinion. We don't know if that needs to be looked at again. That's for you guys in the studio to look at. But quite an uneventful game, apart from the one penalty, I'd say.
It's good though. It's a really, really good experience.
Yeah.
If you ever get the chance to go to Anfield, do it. It's a really good atmosphere. Good back and forth from the City fans
the
well.
atmosphere was probably better than the game, especially first half. Fans were giving it to each other, not in that way, behave yourselves. And it was a very fun game to witness in first hand compared to at home. You don't really feel the cop end until you've been here. If that makes sense. It's
Cool. Right. So thanks to New Balance.
Thank you very much, New Balance.
Sending us that up here, down here, up here,
up here.
Yeah, definitely up here. And back to you boys in the. We filmed this in the loft. Where are we?
We're in the basement.
We're in a nice basement. So enjoy that. But before then, there's Anfield. Lovely, isn't it?
Last section comes from Blobby Robbie, cousin of Arsenal Fan TV's Robbie, and he suggested that Leicester should be our losers. Why is this?
Robbie from Arsenal Fan TV, his surname is not Robbie. It's his first name.
No, it's not. Myth.
Are all your cousins called Chris?
Yeah. Imaginative bunch.
Yeah, Everton managed to beat Leicester, lifting them level on points with the home side. They're now on 12. Anyway, Leicester went into this game unbeaten in 3, and actually we thought they'd be quite an impressive proposition. I thought that Leicester would win this game, but they only got 2 shots on target, while Everton registered 8. 2/3 of the Toffee shots came in the box roughly, and they were just constantly able to get it into dangerous areas. Largely, I think, thanks to Bernard, who made his first Premier League start of the season.
Bloody good debut
He
as well.
set up Richarlison's 4th goal of the campaign. Absolutely killed 2 guys. Condolences to their families.
Spit roasted.
Completed 5 dribbles on the day. 5 dribbles. And 4 key passes. Leicester only managed 6 as a team. James Maddison completed 1 dribble, created no chances. So that's really the story of the game right there. Anyway, Leicester did manage to force an equaliser against the run of play when Ricardo Pereira broke upfield with Kelechi Iheanacho running to make space for him. But it did require him to beat a few people pretty much single-handed in order to get that goal. And while, you know, the winner was a screamer, it kind of felt like it was coming all day, and Everton could have walked away with this much earlier than they did.
Yeah, especially after Wes Morgan got sent off. I think until then Leicester were in the ascendancy, in fact. But that's 2 red cards in 4 games now for Wes, and it's repetitive fouling. It's just consistent mistakes and just
Slow.
generally being outpaced.
Yeah.
Yeah, so where was Johnny Evans? Is he injured? I'm not sure. Didn't look into it, but maybe we should think about replacing Wes Morgan at the back. Anyway, Iheanacho's been a strange one this season because he's actually contributed to 4 goals in 5 starts. That's 1 goal and 3 assists. So while lacking goals, at least ostensibly, it would look like he's contributing. However,
Yeah, a lot.
Expected goals has his contribution at less than 1 in both departments. So the question still remains, can he play in a 2 with Jamie Vardy, or Leicester getting the best out of him when he's dropping deep? If you check his heat maps, he is dropping deep, sort of Okazaki deep, to stitch up the play, because Vardy will be on the last man just relentlessly throughout the game, won't he? Very rarely joins in with the play. So the jury's still out on their relationship up front. Now, like I said, the deciding moment in the game was Wes Morgan's sending off. But before then, Chilwell could have actually put Leicester ahead. Jinked past 2 players, shot with his right foot, and Chilwell was one of Leicester's more redeemable performers on the day. His 90 looked like this: 3 dribbles, 1 shot, 1 key pass, and the most touches for Leicester. He was his usual industrious self, and I think there's a lot more to come from him. He's adding to his game. He seems to be very sort of adept at going forward, joining in with the attack, more so than Marty on the right-hand side anyway. But the less said about Marty at right back, the better. Now, even after Morgan was given his marching orders, Everton still couldn't create clear-cut opportunities despite having the best of the game, like Pato sort of intimated. But expected goals reflected this: 1.1 to 1.2 in Everton's favour. But then, of course, Gylfi did a goal, mate. He did a fat goal. It was sort of like Daniel Sturridge's in that it was placed, but there was just so much topspin on it. It went so high and came down so quickly.
He got really under it.
Yeah.
He like scooped it.
Kasper
It was
Schmeichel
weird.
didn't stand a chance, did
It
he?
was
He made a
such a
good
good
double
goal.
save before that as well. Kasper, of course, captain after Wes Morgan got sent off. Now, it was the Icelandic's 4th goal of the season, meaning that he's already put up the same total as the whole of last year. So clearly enjoying life under Marco Silva, has a bit more attacking freedom, is really kind of a number 10 this season, as opposed to a central midfielder who occasionally gets forward and has to drop back because the rest of the midfield are gash. So yeah, Everton still not convincing, but up to, well, a level on points with Leicester.
Yep.
So progress. So that's winners and losers for another week. Join me and Pato on Euro Football Daily in an hour's time for the Euro Roundup. Pato, anything else on our channels tickled your pickle this week?
Stat Wars, the league is up and running, and it's already pretty exciting. There have been a few upsets. I'm doing all right at the moment, but I don't know. I would definitely check out Stat Wars, the league. Maybe make a bet with your friends on it. Why not?
And then send us the bets on Twitter and we'll give you odds.
Send us the money.
Cash.
Bye.